Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you are new here, my name is Ore. I am a pharmacist, I am a content creator, and I love all things wellness, pharmacy, faith, and conversations. This segment of my YouTube channel is the Transatlantic Pharmacist Conversations. This series we are exploring leading Black. We're talking to phenomenal leaders in the space of medicine who are Black and are doing amazing things in their fields. I'm very pumped to have my second guest. This is episode 2, and if you haven't seen episode 1, you may want to go back and check out my conversation with the phenomenal woman in medicine that I had a discussion with. Today I am speaking to an amazing woman that I love. I'm wearing pink because of her, and it's all things womanhood in this conversation. I'm speaking to the one and only Dr. Bimpe Ayeni. Dr. Ayeni is a board certified plastic surgeon with specialized expertise in breast and abdominal surgery. She is certified by the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Canada, and she is the former head of the Division of Plastic Surgery at South Lake Hospital. With extensive training and a commitment to excellence, Dr. Ayeni combines advanced surgical skill with compassionate, patient-focused care. Dr. Ayeni completed her undergraduate training at Yale University, New Haven, Connecticut, and obtained a master's in public health at Columbia University in New York City. During her undergraduate studies at Yale, she had the opportunity to study abroad at Oxford University in England. She returned home to Canada for her medical training and attended the University of Ottawa, known for its bilingual medical education. Dr. Ayeni completed her plastic and cosmetic surgery training in Hamilton at McMaster University. As a surgical resident, she had a reputation for being hardworking and technically gifted, and she produced an extensive amount of award-winning research. At the end of her training in Hamilton, Dr. Ayeni was offered a prestigious fellowship position to train in Boston at the world-renowned Harvard University. During this time, she worked with Dr. Sam Lin and Dr. Sumner Slavin, some of the world's best plastic and cosmetic surgeons. After completing the Harvard Aesthetic and Reconstructive Surgery Fellowship, Dr. Ayeni started to work at Southlake Regional Healthcare Centre in Newmarket, Ontario. She now owns the amazing Aurora Plastic Surgery Centre, and we are going to dive into such an empowering conversation. If you're a woman who is looking to have cosmetic surgery, a woman who is looking to be a cosmetic surgeon, a woman who is Black and trying to scale her business, this episode is for you. So make sure you tune in. Hey, Dr. Bimpe, thank you so much for joining me. It's always great to see you, both online and also just to have a conversation with you. So thank you for taking the time to be here. We're going to jump right into it. I usually always ask my guests to tell us something interesting about themselves, just something that's like funny or something fun or something that you enjoy doing, maybe a food you love. What is something that people may not know from seeing Dr. Bimpe online or even just for the first time? What's something that we should know about you or that will be fun to know about you?
Oh, that's a great question. Very good one. I think people don't realize just how much I love to travel. It's my jam. It's my number one activity to do outside of work, away from the OR. Before I had the twins, I had a chance to travel even more.
Yeah.
And what I love is the fact that if I told them, hey guys, we're getting on a plane, hurry up and pack up your stuff, they would do it in a heartbeat. So I'm very proud of training this new generation of travel lovers like myself. But yeah, I love to get on a plane. I love to get lost in a new city. I love airports, which is random.
And what would you say is your favorite place you've been so far? What's your best?
Ooh, you know what? I've been to Iceland twice.
Wow.
Different settings. Once with a girlfriend, medical school classmate.
Yeah.
We had a ball in the winter. And then once during the summer with my kids.
Wow.
So it was, contrasted two very different experiences. But phenomenal country, great people, good food, awesome vibe. love the Blue Lagoon. I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Wow, that's great. I mean, that's great. I love to travel too, and I've heard so much about Iceland. I don't like being cold, so I just assume
Cold, yeah.
I'll enjoy it. But that's something I'm going to put on my list, especially because it's not too far from Canada. I know it's like just a few hours, so
Yes.
good like winter break option as well. So thank you so much for
Absolutely.
sharing that. Now I'm wearing pink today because I just have all this like girl power energy. So excited to have this conversation with you because you are honestly one of my favorite people in the medical field, online especially. I love what you do, and I think it will be so beneficial for my audience and for people to hear more about you. So you come from a legendary medical family. Your father was a surgeon. You have 3 brothers who are also surgeons. I see them on LinkedIn and online as well, doing great things. Now, growing up as the only daughter in surgical powerhouse, did you feel any kind of like unspoken pressure to keep up, or did being the only girl give you any kind of unique perspective that your brothers maybe didn't have? Obviously, being a female, you may have different lenses. What was that like?
It's a great question. So the first part about the pressure, none whatsoever, which is such a privilege to say in a family where there was so much support. The support was evergreen. And it came from Dad, who is somebody who told us as kids, you can do anything, you can be anyone. So when the beauty of being a Nigerian is you have this positive reinforcement, a lot of affirmation every single day. You can do it. You have what it takes. You're smart enough. And it isn't until you're older that you realize if you go somewhere and someone says, oh, I'm not so sure you have what it takes. When you program to believe you can do something, all the negative talk or even your own self-doubt is really quieted by all those other positive, voices and reinforcement. So growing up at home, I had a fantastic and still have a fantastic family life. Dad is no longer practicing, but he's still supportive. Wow. So I bounce run court cases by him. My brother's phenomenal. They're the first feminists I knew.
Wow.
So there was this sense of, well, you're not bad for a girl. Or since you're a girl, just try and do these things and not those other things. And so I think I was very lucky. I always believed I could do and be anything and anyone. And when you have that as, the backdrop, once you go out into the world, you have this confidence. You have belief in yourself, and it really can't be shaken by everybody else's opinions, their words, their evaluations. You just sort of say, oh, okay, well, thanks for sharing, but that's not coming out of what I know true based on what my family is telling me. I was always very supported and told, oh, science is tough, STEM is hard. I just never heard anything of that sort. Now as a parent, I try and do the same. I have two are a boy and a girl, and I always laugh at just how different they are. Different strengths and weaknesses, but even little things as simple as there are no boy and girl colors. You wear whatever you want. So we're trying to really do the same thing and really instilling in them that sense of self, that self-confidence, that self-awareness, so that when they go out into the world, it doesn't matter what people think about them. They know who they are, and they know what they are destined to do. They understand their mission, and nobody can break that once you know. So pressure, no. Support, yes. Affirmation, yes. Confidence, yes. And I think that it also helped to have a fantastic role model in my sister, who didn't choose medicine, but was a business entrepreneur. And having her on the sidelines, she sort of helped sort of shape my ideas about femininity and being a strong woman, and how I would present myself. And so I remember that she was a little older than I was. I think I was always seen as being mature because of her. So here's my sister. I remember we went shopping once. I was 15 or 16. And she said, she was convinced, she said, Bimpe, you need to buy a power suit. I'm pretty sure I was the only teenager. But she was just like, I think it would just really complete the look. Really sort of pushing you forward and saying, you're a quiet kid and whatnot, but you should be this and you can be that. And you're the valedictorian. And then I did those things. It's just it's a testament to the power of a phenomenal family, this legacy of support. And I've just been very fortunate, really. Of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my mom. My mother raised all these surgeons and entrepreneur and is married to a surgeon. And just the way she was able to navigate so many different challenges, you know, putting her career on the back burner to raise us, watching her as a mother and now a grandmother. She, even the way she talks to her kids, you can see her just laying that foundation of saying, go out there, be the best version of yourself. You can do any and everything. It's really quite wonderful to see. And she showed me that it's you can be strong, and you know, you have these roles that vacillate. Strength is important, softness is important. Work is important, rest is important. So she really taught me the importance of balance. So again, I won the family lottery, and having this network of support that has been with me. And then as the years go on, because of course, you know, a parent's goal is to have a child watch. The network that I had at home, and focused on building that out in choosing mentors, friends, and my social circles. So that way I'm just surrounded by people that are positive voices. Not people who just tell me what I want to hear and yes, but who understand my dreams that may sound completely far-fetched and say, you know what, why not? Why not you? Go for it. I love that. I think one of the things that is echoing, especially with a lot of the women that I'm speaking to, and you know, these people like yourself who are trailblazers, is it really starts at home, and there is love at home. So I think it's you know, as a parent myself, just listening to that reminds me of how important it is to build up our kids, right? And just like instill in them these things, especially in this day and age where I feel like the world is trying so hard to shape kids in a specific way, right? Like trying to change their mind on things, trying to make them things that maybe they don't even want to be themselves, right? And just the importance of making sure that we groom them from home, remind them that there's love at home, remind them that they're supported. Nobody can tell you that you can't do this, you know. So excited that you have like that support. It's so key. Now, being in surgery, first of all, and then also being in plastic surgery, being a cosmetic surgeon, that has historically been a male dominated sector, especially medicine. I think medicine in general is can be very male dominated. And sometimes it can be intimidating for some women. Now, we are entering March, which is Women's History Month, and it's a month to really highlight and celebrate women. Can you take us back to the moment where you realized that you weren't just a surgeon? When did you realize that you are actually a pioneer for women in this space? I think there are just moments along the journey where I would stop and take it in and say, oh, wow, okay. My being a Black female plastic surgeon, one of, you know, less than 10 in the country, not province, but in the country. It's different sort of small moments where you look around in the crowd and you say, oh, wow. So for instance, going to a national conference and looking around, seeing that I was the only Black person at a conference back when I was in medical school.
Wow.
And then fast forward to having my 2 younger brothers join me. And then I thought, okay, there are now at least 3 of us, or maybe 5 at that point in time. So I think for me, those kinds of experiences are positive because they show that on one hand, field lacks representation. But on the other hand, with every passing year, when you look around and you see more and more faces that look like yours and names that sound like yours, it's encouraging to know that change is very slow, but it is actually happening.
Absolutely.
So, you know, that's very reassuring for me to see. And I can't think of any specific moment in time. I think it's just looking back. And sometimes when you're on a mission and you're focused on a certain goal, you're just so fixated on that singular thing, that singular success. And I think every so often it's important to pause and take it all in and
Yeah.
enjoy the view.
Yeah.
This past year, I built out my practice. I built out my own surgery center.
Yeah.
And that was very challenging. And I think coming into the new year, with the construction behind me, and walking into this space that I created, I think that was another moment of, oh wow, I did it.
Yeah.
I've done it. And it's just a phenomenal feeling to know that every paint color, every pipe that holds gas, the backup generator, all those different elements were all chosen by me. And I think a pivotal moment was going through and performing my first surgery at this center. Of course, I was up the night before. After that day, but it was a phenomenal feeling of seeing a patient who put their trust in me and my team, assembling a team of people who believed in my vision and believed in my brand, and were able to deliver this really high quality care, safe setting. Because of course, aesthetically it's a beautiful space, but what's more important for me is the safety. The patient experience is how people feel when they come as well as when they leave. And to have everything work out perfectly, I think for me was a very big win. A personal win and a team win. And so there are those moments that are interspersed where I take a moment to take it all in and just to feel gratitude for the support, for the trust, for the sleepless nights, for the anxiety, for the doubt, and it's all worked out as Michael told me it would.
I love that. And you know what, one thing you said is, you mentioned the doubt, you mentioned anxiety, and sometimes when I feel those emotions of anxiety and doubt and worry, I'm like, you look at other people like yourself and people who are super successful, and I wonder, like, do they ever feel those feelings? Do they ever navigate those emotions? Because again, we look at people on the outside and we're like, wow, she's so confident, wow, she's so bold, she built this whole center on her own. But you don't realize the background work, the foundational work, the things that have to go into actually standing firm and doing that. What would you say to a young Black woman who has dreams and these goals and aspirations, but she's like, I don't know if I can do this? Maybe she also doesn't have that family support or the system of friends. How do we go from that individual to being someone like yourself who then can look back and say, wow, I was able to achieve this?
It's a great question, and I think you sort of helped answer it in saying all of us feel the wide range of emotions. You're happy, you're excited, but you're also anxious, and you feel a bit, and self-doubt creeps in. And I think normalizing that is very important. Just to know that we all experience this. We have different insecurities and things that we focus on that nobody else would ever think was an issue. So I think it's important to talk about it and to acknowledge it. And also, the other point you bring up that's important is not everybody has the exact same foundation when it comes to family support or friends and whatnot. So really being proactive in seeking those types of relationships. That's something that took me a while to understand, which was, I always thought people would just assign mentors to you. But I think recently I've been embracing this idea of seeking out my own mentors. I see somebody who I think is really impressive, and instead of kind of watching from afar, reaching out, talking to them, connecting with them, because there are just so many pearls to be gained from people that you admire. So I think just not being intimidated by somebody's aura, and knowing that we're all human, we all have similar fears, needs, anxieties, and that way you just don't feel like you're going at this alone. Because it can be, I think back to medical school, then residency, then fellowship, long nights, often spent alone. So it's a very lonely journey. So I think it's important to support yourself by finding people who are like-minded, who push you. And I think one other thing that I'm embracing now in my fourth decade is just the notion of people seeing me as, because I'm a hard worker, I don't complain, I just keep pushing. Sometimes that's mistaken for this sort of supernatural, superhuman strength.
Yeah.
And so on one hand, yes, I am strong, but at the same time, I still need to have the space to be weak at times.
Absolutely.
I need to create rest in my life. Rest is a privilege.
Yeah.
I love the idea of just the duality that, just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and squeezing work and demands out of you, because you deserve the rest that everybody else is experiencing. So being able to balance those very opposite ends of the spectrum is very important. I remember when I was interviewing for a job, somebody asked me, they said, "Oh, we see your resume, we see that you're a wonderful leader, but give us an example of your followership." And I had to think back, and I thought, whoa, that's a good question. And the word. And I love that, because it's just, I think we're always kind of navigating these opposite demands on us. And I love the question. And what I told them back then, just like 15 years ago, was, it reminded me of when I used to row. So I used to row when I was at Yale. And I remember one of our coaches told us that, it's an individual sport in as much as it is a group sport. So you're focused on what you can do and your strength and, staying in sync. But, the person sitting ahead of you in the boat is, doing their best and, leading you. But for the boat to move, you have to follow that person. Yeah. So you're sort of going between, I'm following this person, but I'm leading the person behind me. Yeah. Yeah. So it's really important to understand how, you fit into this boat, so to speak.
Yeah. I love that. You touched on so many important things. And I think the notion of like balancing both rest and work. So that kind of brings me to, this amazing center that you have built. And I want to talk a bit about that and how you kind of segued into that and what kind of brought you to the decision of wanting to build that space, but also looking at it from a place of, you're a Black woman. What were your thoughts when you were going into cosmetic surgery and also building this space? Sometimes women forget to take care of themselves in those ways, and we kind of put ourselves on a back burner, and we forget that actually I have things that I want to do for myself cosmetically. What are the different things that were going through your mind as you were building the center and also going into sector?
I think for me over the years, what I've come to learn and talking to thousands of women is that beauty is for everyone. Back in the day, you only ever heard about plastic surgery in tabloids. Yeah. And also plastic surgery had this kind of bizarre history of disfiguring people. Yes. But I think, when you learn about the history of the field, you realize that you heard about those people, but you didn't hear about the millions of people that were having normal procedures just to feel better about themselves, or to restore something that was lost, or to reconstruct something, say, for instance, after cancer. And so, over the years, I've been sort of hearing stories and hearing from women and hearing about what, they would have liked to know before meeting a plastic surgeon. So I took that and I sort of distilled that down into its parts, which is that people want to be seen, be heard, want to be met where they are. And then the universals, we all love beautiful spaces. We like spaces that feel welcoming, so that when you walk in, how you're spoken to, what you see, what you hear, all of those different senses and all those different elements are such an important part of an experience. And what I realize is that I love where I work. I love working at South Lake Regional Health Center. They offered me a job, 14 years ago, and I'm very grateful for that. And to my colleagues who believed in me and trusted that I would do a phenomenal job. And so I now sort of grew into my practice, which is very busy. And I just thought, for the next phase, I know what the first decade of my career. But for the second decade, what do I want to do? How do I want to achieve it? How do I want to practice? How do I want to achieve balance in my work life and life, the OR? And I came to this idea, and with the backing of, again, my family, my wonderful husband, who has a very different perspective, coming from a business background. He worked on Wall Street in Manhattan before moving. And he was able to help me navigate some challenges, just trying to figure everything out. How do we do this? What is the configuration? And then just, learning about how to run a business, because that's something that, back when I was training, we didn't really review a lot of that in medical school residency. And then all of a sudden you are the business owner.
Yeah.
So on any given day, I'm troubleshooting different areas.
Yeah.
But having him as my sidekick through the pre-construction, construction, launch, the opening, and then understanding how to make the space operational has been absolutely phenomenal. I'm so thankful that he's a part of my life. And it really was a family affair, all hands on deck. I remember one day the kids, the twins were with us before we opened. And, there was no internet there yet. It was still just a shell. And they would play all these games. And when I caught them once playing Office Manager, so they would take turns checking in patients, fake patients. That's commitment. Then they were sitting there counting all the ceiling tiles and practicing. And I thought, well, the beauty of this, at least now they have a sense of what it takes to go from nothing. They saw this when it was an empty square, and now they've seen what it took to build this from the ground up. So I'm hoping it shows them what's possible. It shows them they can also do something like this. But it's been wonderful, and the feedback that I receive from patients and colleagues coming through is universally positive. So every so often I walk in and I'm like, whew, we did it.
This is something that's so close and dear to my heart. In this day and age, we are celebrating women, we are empowering women, but sometimes what comes with that is like almost putting this like taboo on having a partner that's a male that allows you to like thrive and pushes you. So like the importance of having that partner and someone who can help you to see things from a different lens and perspective. And maybe that might not be a husband for some people, it might be like community, like the importance of having that. Are you able to speak on that?
Absolutely. One challenge I had earlier on was defining my own blind spots, because it's hard. I mean, I don't know what I don't know. But then it took me sort of saying, I'm going to build a skincare brand from scratch. Someone who I can throw ideas at and say, what do you think about this? And who I trust, and whose opinion, my husband isn't afraid to tell me that, listen, I respect what you're proposing. However, here's my approach, or how I would do things. And so I think it takes a maturity on both ends to be able to listen, to hear frank criticism, and to hear fresh takes or new ideas on how to sort of approach something. I think that really came to light for us in the last 5 or so years, and it's been awesome. Basically starting from him asking me the question of what to do about shaving bumps. And it's just this really cool combination of him being, patient one who tried all the products, and me using my background medically, since I've seen others like him, and just refining that, and then moving on to the marketing, where he was able to weigh in and say, listen, let's use these channels and combine it with that. So it's really, I think I'm very fortunate be at this life stage and to have the support that I do. Have somebody who lifts me up, and people came to our opening party and they were commending him, some of his colleagues, and he said, oh no, it was she did it was her. A success and a triumph in teamwork.
I love that. And I love that you're both, like you said, like it's maturity to kind of like rub off each other in such a positive way and balance different ideas from each other. I think that takes so much, not making it a competition, but like we're partners in this and we're doing this together, right? You have the medical expertise and knowledge, he has the finance business kind of background and knowledge, and that makes a successful team, right? For a long time, women focused on, exercising, eating right, and doing all the things to make sure they looked good. But now we're in an age where people do have access to cosmetic surgery, whether that's like doing things on your face or on your body. What would your encouragement be for a woman who maybe wants to take the step and explore cosmetic surgery, but maybe is worried about what people will think? Oh, she didn't get that body in the gym, she didn't eat the right food, all that kind of stuff. Like, what are your words for that woman who is like, I want to do something for myself to make myself feel better and look better?
Well, I mean, I would say your body, your rules. It's something I teach my kids who are 7-year-olds, and I think that really should carry over as we grow. I think thankfully the world is changing in some positive ways when it comes to the acceptance of bodies. The beauty standards have evolved, so you see models of all different heights, abilities, colors, hair textures, whereas years and years ago there was just one ideal, and if you weren't that, then you weren't beautiful. So in many ways beauty is a lot more inclusive. And I think I'm happy to see a lot of women who come and see me, and men as well, where they see cosmetic surgery or even just having a consultation as an act of self-love and self-care. What I tell them is I'm not trying to change who you are. You are who you are. You're fearfully and wonderfully made as you are. You're good enough. If there are things that bother you or that you think about often and you want to alter and modify, that's absolutely fine. And I love that people aren't thinking about plastic surgery as this stigma-laden field. Some may, have spoken about in the past, or they may have, had those older viewpoints. Nowadays, I think people don't really think that way. They think, okay, I want to change this subtle thing, fine. And I think what's also interesting is that there's support. Virtually. So there are online groups that discuss surgery more openly. Hey, look at my before and after pictures. Oh, that you look great. Where did you go? Etc. We didn't have these kinds of discussions even 15 years ago. So I'm very happy to see that evolution. But I don't see plastic surgery or cosmetic surgery as being as taboo as it used to be, and I'm very happy about that. People are, learning to either accept themselves as they are, or knowing that if they want to make a change, they know where to go. They make safe decisions about who to discuss this with. But I just love the idea that plastic surgery can actually be this tool to empower people.
Yes, absolutely.
When you look good, you feel good. And if a few modifications here or there will make you feel better, why not? Go for it. Go get them. I'm on your team and on your side to help you achieve those goals.
And it doesn't change the core of who you are. Like you said, you are still who you are. Whether you have the surgery or not have the surgery. And I love that you also include that you do surgeries for men as well, not just women. So that's a very, very key and important thing to know for anyone who is interested in pursuing that. My final question for you is, again, as a mother, a wife, a surgeon, I'm sure you are doing other things outside of surgery as well. You are still trying to develop yourself and knowledge, but also trying to find time for yourself. Is it possible for a woman to have it all? Is it possible to have it all whilst also prioritizing yourself, your mental health, and your well-being as a woman?
It's a great question, and my answer may be controversial, but absolutely, you can have it all. The challenge is defining all. Does that mean you have every single thing you want at a particular point in time? That's challenging, and that's too much pressure on oneself. And I think Shonda Rhimes, who I love and think is a superstar, answered this question beautifully when she gave a commencement address talking about how, if you're doing extremely well in one sphere of life, probably means something else has dropped off. But I still feel like someone like her, she does have it all. I think having it all means being able to juggle, 5 or 6 different glass balls, all precious, and that, the more balls you throw into this mix, the riskier things are for really just, going haywire. And so every day we're having to make so many big and small decisions as women.
Yeah.
And, you know, there are days where you think, wow, well, this today was just not a great day. I'm going to have to reset and start that project tomorrow. I think having it all means being able to balance that and to know that there's some days that are going to be fantastic and others you're just not going to be able to get it together.
Yeah.
And that, respecting that and that process is what having it all means to me. It doesn't mean that everything is absolutely perfect. You know, some days laundry doesn't get done.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Some days, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You still, you have health, you have love, you have, you know, a roof over your head. And so I think being able to appreciate all the positive things that we have is a part of having it all, as opposed to focusing on this idea of perfection. Because that's not real in many ways, you know, people who are sort of striving for the perfect body, you know, again, how are we defining that? So I think, you know, so many different areas of our lives, perfection, having it all, being everyone to everyone, you know, that's not realistic. So I think embracing a little bit of chaos in our lives is very important.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. I'm very passionate about that because me myself, I'm, you know, type A personality. I love getting things done. And the other day I was saying to someone, it's like I have a to-do list, but then it seems to never get, like, it's always just like a long list. It never feels like it's just 2 or 3 things. It's always, and what you said is key, right? Like looking at it from a perspective of, today wasn't great, and every day is not going to be the same, right? Yesterday is not the same as today. Sometimes we have good sleep, sometimes we have rough days. At the end of the day, it's all part of the process, like you said. So thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for everything that you do. I personally cannot wait to come to the center and just see it and just be in that environment. It looks amazing. And I'm hoping that we get to see more from you and more of your skills and the different things that you have to offer. So thank you for what you do. Really, really appreciate you.